Yes. So look, I think that with the backdrop of a stock market in the US, which is still making, about 65% of global equities. So at the end of the day, if you are wondering whether to invest in the stock market, you're back to asking yourself, do I want to put money on the US stock market? Just to figure, you know, the top 10 constituents of the MSCI ACWI, so the largest global index, is made of 10 names that are US tech names, and they account for 25% of that index. So, if you have to be invested in stocks, you are going to be invested in AI and the stock market. So the valuation there, is very high, as I mentioned. So we're just a few percent away from the dot-com peak multiple, which I never thought we'd see again, to be honest with you, but here we are. So you look at this competition of that asset class with equities, where on the treasury markets now you can invest at about 4%. This is not so bad on a relative term. Yes, you have a big inflation question mark. That is true. That's granted. So far, inflation has been going in the right direction, but still, of course, making with the tariffs, a few signs that it is struggling to break through down below 3%. Having said that, the latest developments that we're having from Donald Trump and the fact that he's realizing that consumers, are starting to be in a pretty poor shape when it comes to consumers that are not exposed to the stock market,
Right.
is precisely taking us to watershed on the tariffs. Okay,
What do you think?
so relative
Yeah.
attraction.
I would like to discuss some of the dynamics within fixed income in more detail, Arnaud. Of course, we are approaching a very important date here in the UK with the upcoming budget being published. On Friday, we actually saw pressure on yields. What do you think is going to happen when it comes to the UK bond market as we approach this key moment in terms of the announcement of the budget?
It's renewed volatility, clearly, as you've seen end of last week. And that for sure, the UK has been one of the worst, bond market this year, because you've seen that whenever there were bad news in continental Europe, in particular in France, there was renewed volatility on the UK, and when there was renewed volatility in the US, the gilt was also under pressure. So there have been, I mean, the area has been losing on both sides. So I would expect incremental volatility. However, having said that, the messages sent by the market to the government are very clear, and so we would expect that the government will do what is needed, and whether that's less tax hike, then it will have to be additional cost savings.